Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to your reading for the week of, wrong camera, September 15th. You have this card that says, walk away. It says, what you're doing now isn't working for you, but are you willing to walk away to make room for something better? You have this lost card. It says, don't let the past setback define your future. Stay focused on your positive outcome, as your thoughts and beliefs will directly affect your reality. So this makes sense with the, we're in eclipse season. So some of you could be walking away from something or just eliminating something from your life that no longer serves you, and it literally could be anything. A lot of people, I think, are dealing with health right now because the Virgo eclipse, plus we have the South Node in Virgo as well, plus Chiron retrograde. It just seems to me like people could be making health changes, especially you earth signs, because, that eclipse is basically going to trine you. And, so a lot of you could just be making those changes. But let's see here. Yeah, it looks pretty good here, Taurus. You have the Queen of Cups, the Ten of Wands, and the Five of Swords. The Queen, I think I said the Queen of Cups, but the Queen of Wands is about being bold, being assertive, really going for what you want. I literally just said to Virgo, I feel like I called you Virgo. I hope I didn't call you Virgo at the beginning of this reading, but I just said to Virgo that, the Queen of Wands has been coming up a lot, and she represents kind of marching to the beat of your own drum, which I think is an excellent energy for most people right now, because it's kind of like what the universe wants us to do. I feel the universe wants us to set ourselves apart right now, not be afraid to be different. And really, I feel what the universe is trying to do, especially with Neptune and Pisces. Neptune's in Aries right now, but it will be retrograding back into Pisces in October. And so, and it's already been there for many years. And I feel that Neptune and Pisces energy, there's something about it, about the universe wanting us to trust ourselves more. It's like the universe is trying to get us to trust ourselves, I think, and not listen to necessarily other people. That doesn't mean there's a big, that doesn't mean you can't listen to other people, right? But it's kind of like trust but verify, right? We can listen to other people, but we should also not just accept everything as gospel, right? And also we have Pluto in Aquarius, which I think is making people move more towards independence, which you might be saying, well, Aquarius is a collective, which is true. But, the Pluto in Aquarius energy doesn't say that we should become part of the hive mind. It kind of says that we should shine our own light. I look at it kind of like the star card. Aquarius is a star card. The star card is about being an inspiration. And so people always ask me, one of the number one questions I used to get all the time was, people would ask, what's my spiritual purpose? And number one, I don't really think we have one other than to create our own reality, whatever that means for you. But number two, if there ever was one that we would have right now, it would be inspiring other people, living your best life. Inspiration does not mean you tell anyone anything. It just means you live your best life. People see you living your best life and they get inspired by it, right? And so that's it. That's all you have to do here, Taurus. You have the Ten of Wands. I feel that this will probably come up a lot during these readings, especially for you fixed signs this week, and probably for the rest of the month as well. It's kind of a time where you could be seeing the time wasters, the things that are wasting your time. And, getting clear on that will free you up and will free up your energy. We even have the Eight of Wands here, and the Eight of Wands is my card of creating a slip and slide in life. The Eight of Wands is a card of kind of making things smoother, making things more efficient in your life, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I feel that, this could be you kind of increasing your speed in life, which is great. You could be building things faster. You could be finding success faster in your life, and doing things. And it's not even... It's more momentum. Maybe that would be a better word to use, where you feel like you're moving forward, you feel like you're making this progress. So I like it. You have the Five of Swords. Every single person has had something about taking a risk. And we are in a time of risk taking. I've been talking about this for 2 years now. That, we really have to do things to stand out. When you think about it, it's like, just look at the world, right? We have social media. I think that the world reflects things back to us that, even if you don't work in social media, that's not what I'm saying, right? And so, we have AI, right? So AI is flooding YouTube with a bunch of AI crap, right? And everything is the same. So what does that mean? That means that if you're in social media, you have to do different things to stand out, right? And the same thing is true for your personal life and everything else. I think the energy is that, especially when Neptune does officially move back into Aries in January, Neptune in Aries is like people looking for a savior. And so people will, be kind of looking to become part of a hive mind. And so your job is to not, and to be unique and different. And if you do that, then you will stand out, and then people might follow you. I always make the joke that we will probably see a lot of like cults coming, being created during Neptune and Aries. And your job is to start your own cult, right? Obviously, I'm joking. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, this is, I think Taurus has been working on this for a very long period of time. Even if we look at your astrology for the past few years, you've been perfectly set up to, escape the bullpen, which is what I have been saying to you for a year, basically, that your job is to escape those confines. I always say that a lot of people say Taurus is like a bull in a china shop, but that's not completely accurate. Taurus is, the bull inside of the bullpen that needs to remove the bullpen. It's like you need to use your horns to lift it up and flip it over your back so you can be set free, right? And so the bullpen for Taurus is usually Five of Pentacles. It is usually paying attention to weaknesses, right? The Five of Pentacles wants us to focus on our strengths. If a bull only, do bulls really, are they aware of their strength? Maybe, maybe not. But if a bull knew its strength, it could easily, flip that bullpen over its back and set itself free. And so this is about like discovering your own strength, right? With the Ten of Wands, you have the Hangman, which you have twice in this reading. A lot of Hangmans coming up. I've noticed, even I didn't notice actually at first, but a couple people left comments. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, everybody has had the Hangman, right? And so the funny thing is that this is Pisces. We have Uranus and Gemini. And even though this represents Pisces, I also feel that the Hangman is very similar to Uranus and Gemini, because Uranus and Gemini will bring us new perspectives. He's looking at things he's looking at the world upside down. And so, being able to look at things from different perspectives will probably help you quite a bit in life. And so don't be afraid of, gaining new perspectives. With the Five of Swords, you have the Death card. Yeah, it's like what needs to change, you are going through changes. All fixed signs are right now, especially with Pluto and Aquarius, but, there are other things as well going on. Uranus is going to go back into your sign November 7th, and, because it's going to be retrograding out of Gemini. And so, you're going to have a good few months, starting in November, to really set yourself free. Like I said, escape the bullpen, to take your limitations and flip them over your back and run away, right? You're not really running away. You're removing those limitations that you no longer need, which will probably set you free. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Oracle's gift card and this Body and Soul card. Like I said, a great time to work on your health. So, anything you can do to improve your health or, just improve your life in general would be good. The Oracle's gift card is intuition. I would be trusting your intuition. We are in a very intuitive time, but, it's like the messages we could be getting might not make very much sense. I always say that Uranus and Gemini is electric downloads. We can get these ideas, but it's kind of like a prophecy. If you've ever read of any of like Nostradamus's prophecies, they don't make sense, right? People have interpreted them to represent something, right? So that's what could be happening for us with like the things that we're downloading from the universe, is that, the messages we're getting, they might be like a metaphor for something else. And so I've been telling people, if random things pop into your head, if you have random dreams, random ideas, like write those things down, because they might make sense later. They might just not make sense right now. You might have to look into the metaphor, or you might have to, translate it, right? And so that's what I would do there. Also, in the area of what's coming in for you, you show up as yourself. Whenever you show up as yourself, puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. So this is very good. When you show up as yourself, kind of says that you are present. I feel like you're willing to be, I feel that you are in a position where you're willing to do the work, which is good. And that, that's kind of the message I'm getting here. I do feel a lot of you could be more focused on money at this time. You do have a little bit of love here, but, I feel you're more focused on freedom. 10 of Pentacles right next to it. 10 of Pentacles would be, your ultimate dream life, which could include being set free, or, having the freedom to do what you want when you want. And I feel a lot of you are focusing on those things. You have the Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups can be love, and you end with the Two of Cups, so there definitely could be a love offer for those of you that want it. Ace of Cups would be something really nice, though. I feel pretty much everyone is focusing on these. I talk about this a lot as well. Back in the 70s, we started these Scorpio cycles in the astrology, and that's kind of when divorce peaked, and now it's kind of going down, the amount of divorces, right? And it's because we ended those Scorpio cycles back in 2022, 2023. And now I feel love is changing. So it might not seem like it because, I'm sure that you all have your horror stories. But what I would say is that, really we are in a stage where we're cleaning up the mess, if that makes sense. But the good news is I feel that love could be getting better. And so if you want love, there definitely could be a solid connection. Again, Ace of Cups would be the type of connection that flows and that overflows, where you're not fighting for energy, right? That cup can reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up. So, there's no struggle to, fulfill yourself with the Ace of Cups. And that's kind of what I get here. I also feel that going this way here, up to the Ten of Pentacles, this could be about doing work that also fulfills you. So if you're struggling in work or business or whatever it is that you do, you could be discovering something that's much better. Next, you have the Knight of Pentacles. It's there's something you need to get started on here, Taurus, is what I feel. The Knight of Pentacles is the only knight in the tarot that isn't moving. Sometimes I like the Knight of Pentacles, sometimes I don't. The Knight of Pentacles can represent progress, but I almost feel like it's saying, again, this right here, Knight of Pentacles to the Eight of Wands. I don't have any good examples for you here, Taurus, but, it's sometimes I think we think that we're not good at something that we really are good at, and that's kind of the vibe I get here. It's it's you have a skill that if you were to really, go for it, you would probably surprise yourself with how successful you could be, but maybe you just don't know how good you are. It kind of reminds me, I feel like I say this to you all the time, Taurus. It reminds me of trine energy, right? People who are born with a bunch of trines, old astrology says that people who are born with trines are lazy, but they're not really lazy. Trines are skills that we're born with, or they can represent things that we're born with. So if you're born with a skill, then and it just comes naturally to you. You just don't think you're good at it because it just comes naturally to you, so you don't think it's special. I feel this is saying you need to start, this says you need to start valuing yourself more. Yes, with the King of Pentacles, you have the Nine of Cups, which is fulfillment, wish fulfillment, good vibes. I would make a wish here with this and the Ten of Pentacles for sure. The Nine of Cups is about matching the energy of what you want. You have to become the thing that you want to be, which I feel I also say to you all the time, Taurus, that, your readings really talk about this, about, kind of matching the energy of what you want to be, or just being the thing you want to be right now and not waiting. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Ace of Cups. Basically, the universe saying I meant what I said. So you could definitely be attracting love here with the Ace of Cups, or you could be attracting a more solid connection if you want love. I also feel this is saying you need to focus on your own overflow, right? We need to do more things that cause us to overflow at this time. That could be hobbies, spending time with people who give you energy, where you don't feel drained after you're spending time with them. That is also part of health, right? And so that could be how you are taking care of yourself. Yes, with the Knight of Pentacles, you've been inspired by an idea, I think, that you need to get started on. Ace of Wands is kind of out with the old and with the new. So you could be getting started on a new inspiration or a new project that is kind of inspiring you. Ace of Wands, I always say, is like a spark. So we have to keep putting wood on the fire to get it to grow. And you have a bunch of wood right here with the Eight of Wands. So you have a bunch more wands going on. But I would make sure that you're getting something to grow, and that's it. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Ancient and Future Energies card and this Moving to Another Level card. That's basically what this reading is saying, that you have the opportunity to really level up here. Like I said, to escape the bullpen, right? To get out of that stuck energy and set yourself free. And that's pretty much what I would do with these two cards. I feel, this card says Ancient, what did it say? Ancient and Future Energies. Usually, that's the whole point of Taurus's, Taurus. Is that Taurus usually has things from the past that they need to let go of, from their childhood or when they were younger or, something like that. And letting go or healing those parts of yourself could be the thing that sets you free. You have the Ten of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, and the Seven of Cups. Ten of Pentacles is everything you want and desire in your life. So Ten of Pentacles, we don't just get the Ten of Pentacles, but, I feel a lot of you are definitely focused on this. I mean, it's crazy to me that, like, every single reading since Uranus went into Taurus years ago, you have been getting the Ten of Pentacles. And I feel it makes perfect sense that having Uranus in your sign will make you focus on this. It will make you focus on, specifically for Taurus, right? Uranus and Taurus, according to Chris's crappy astrology here, is freedom. Like, we are all being asked to set ourselves free. And so I feel that a lot of you that's what is kind of going on here. Is like you are being asked to create your dream life, no matter how hard it may seem, or, no matter how hard or how far away you may feel. The Ten of Pentacles is about maintaining this vision, and it's about putting the pieces of the puzzle together, taking the steps necessary to build the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles can also represent, like, hidden or secret information. So it can say that there is information that exists that could help you manifest this or create this, but you have to do your research. So, I would definitely be doing that. You have the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is quick success or a quick conclusion, and I do feel there could be quick success coming in for you here, Taurus. The Eight of Wands is also, like I said, about, I always say this is my card of creating a slip and slide in life. It says there are areas of friction in your life, or we all have things that slow us down, that get in the way, that prevent us from moving forward. And the Eight of Wands says, how can you either remove those things or smooth them out? Of course, there will always be obligations that we have that we can't get away from, but it's like, how can you make those things better or smoother? And, and even just small, minor changes can make a big impact with the Eight of Wands. So I would make sure to do that. The Eight of Wands, again, it's not about being perfect. It's just about getting the energy moving a little bit more in the right direction. And you have the Nine of Cups here. And so the more you can point your energy towards what you want, the better, right? Even if you have to brainwash yourself into success here, that's exactly what I would be doing. You have the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is like the what ifs. I like the Seven of Cups. It's not terrible. But he is dreaming of something, which is kind of like the good part. The bad part of the card is that there are good things and bad things in those cups. So instead of manifesting his dream or whatever it is that he wants, he's kind of spending a little bit too much time thinking like, oh, this could be bad, this could be good. He's kind of like going back and forth instead of just finding out, right? And so the Seven of Cups says you kind of have to find out if something will be good or bad or what, With the Ten of Pentacles, you have the Two of Swords. Yeah, being open to other ways of doing things, which is the secret sauce for Taurus. It's pretty obvious to me. The Two of Swords, she's thinking this or that, but there's like another way that she could be doing things. Whatever you're doing in life, there's probably better ways to do it or other ways to do it. And I don't think you have to completely change or completely, quit your job or anything like that. I think this is more just about, like this card says, moving to another level. All you have to do is upgrade what you're doing or, find a different approach to what you're doing in work and business and love, whatever you want, everything. And I feel if you do that, you'll probably discover some pretty solid solutions. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is, of course, the Wounded Warrior, but Nine of Wands also says don't give up. Yeah, definitely not a time for Taurus to give up. Like I said, we have Uranus will be retrograding back into Taurus, and then it goes into Gemini. It's freedom in Taurus. It's kind of revolution in Gemini, or more revolutionary energy. So it's kind of like Uranus and Gemini, next year when it officially moves back into Gemini, although it's already been in there, we can really revolutionize our life. We can make some pretty revolutionary changes as well, and I think that you probably will. So, that's kind of what you're getting prepared for. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Chariot, which is good. The Chariot is a victory or big success. It's like, how would you act if you knew that you couldn't fail, is really what this is saying to me, to you, Taurus, right? With that Seven of Cups. Like, how would you approach something if you knew that it was just going to work, right? Because it probably is. Chariot. Chariot is a victory. Chariot is also about setting yourself apart. We kind of said that with the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands has to be unique. She kind of has to march to the beat of her own drum, and she's also my card of learning as you go. The Chariot, he is leaving the city behind him because he is setting himself apart. And that's what I would be thinking about. Like anything in your life that you want or that you want to improve or make better, how can you make it more unique or different, or, how can you add your own flair to it, right? Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this driving card. It says autonomy, direction, and responsibility. The whole reading basically is autonomy. It's you doing your own thing, right? You have this lost card. It says directionless and dark night of the soul. I feel this is how you have felt, directionless. But, the Eight of Wands would say that now you have a direction. Now you have a move or a direction to move in with that Eight of Wands. And also the Chariot. And also the three aces. Two of them are the same. But, the aces can be like an opportunity or a new beginning. You have the Hangman, the Two of Cups, and the Fool. Again, like I said, new perspectives. These new perspectives could be the thing that's giving you a new direction, seeing things from different perspectives. So I really don't have anything else to add to this that I haven't already said the first time we got it. And so I feel you're just kind of embracing new directions. You have the Two of Cups. Two of Cups is a perfect match. So if you are looking for love, there definitely could be a solid match coming in for you for sure. It's not really a love reading, as usual, but all your readings, Taurus, are always all about you, which is fine. And, again, I always say love is always available to us. So if you want it, then there is definitely love available to you. The Two of Cups, like I said, is also you and your higher self. So we have to pay attention to the guidance that we're getting. But like I said, at this time, Uranus is still in Gemini until November 7th. So, the guidance you might be getting might not exactly make sense, or it might just not. You might just be like, I don't know where this is heading, and that's okay. It kind of just says that you can write down your ideas. Even if you think you're going to, like, let's say you start something like a new project, it might not make sense, or maybe you're confused on like the outcome. I feel this is saying like follow the guidance because you are being led somewhere, right? Next, you have the Fool. The Fool, of course, is about a new beginning, taking a leap of faith. I do feel that you are probably taking a leap of faith in new directions here, Taurus. The whole entire reading is about having a new direction that you're going to move in. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I have nothing to add to that either. With the Hangman, you have the Three of Wands. Yes, Three of Wands. You are probably going to get the Three of Wands a lot moving forward in the future because I feel like you are meant to expand. Again, this card says moving to another level. That would be like the Three of Wands, It would be taking something to the next level. And, maybe that's what your life should be. Maybe that should be your focus right now is, everything that you're doing, how can you take it to the next level? How can you make it better, stand out more, or do more in life? With the Two of Cups, you have the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is, again, having a lot of options. Some of you might be a little bit confused about love or, confused about a connection. The thing about the Two of Cups is that Two of Cups can be a person who's different than your usual type. So for those of you that are, like, attracting new love, this could say it would be worth it to give it a little bit of time to see how it goes. Like, don't rush anything. Take your time and just see how a new connection develops because you never know what could happen. With the Fool, here you go. You have the Ten of Cups. Happy home, happy family. Again, you might meet a person here, and you might be, like, not sure at first if it's going to work or not, and then it totally does with the Ten of Cups, and you'd be very happy with the Ten of Cups. I also feel the Ten of Cups and the Fool could be saying that you are going to be very happy because of a new beginning. So, the whole entire reading is about a new beginning. You have this pale, can't make this up. It says, time to get out of a situation. We said this at the beginning of the reading, basically, that you are escaping the bullpen. You are escaping some limitations. And again, are you doing this week? No, probably not. This is probably a process that is going to take a little bit of time. So, but again, I think you are taking the steps necessary to escape, which is good. You have this valley. It says, deep personal strength and peace that assures success. Yeah, Ace of Cups twice, Ace of Cups wants us to do things that cause our emotions to overflow, that make us happy. It really wants us to do things that cause fulfillment. And so I would be doing, more things that cause fulfillment, basically. You have this Kangaroo. It says, unsettled times, need to plan ahead. Uranus and Gemini, I don't know. I've been saying this for years that, between now and 2033, which is the end of Uranus and Gemini, where it is a time of chaos, but, like, not bad necessarily. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. Uranus loves being in Gemini, but it can be a little bit chaotic, but, a little bit scattered, And so I think we're all kind of dealing with that. You have this nest. It says an emotionally secure, loving family is important to you. 10 of Cups, right? A lot of you definitely could be wanting to have a family or wanting to start a family, or, this could just be important. And finally, you have this Whale. It says, great worry over nothing. Yes, we don't really see a lot of worry here, but I do feel that, 9 of Wands, 8 of Wands, some of you, in the 7 of Cups, right, thinking too much, like if you're starting something like a dream or new project or new direction, thinking too much of the bad stuff that could happen, I think you need to focus, right? But this looks pretty good, Taurus. Actually, pretty straightforward as well. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.